कया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu study. Yesterday we quite elaborately discussed one of the qualities, in fact two qualities we discussed, that is Moksha Lagutakrit and Sudharlabha. So how many of you are there in yesterday's class? Can you raise your hands? How many of you were there in yesterday's class? Okay, so 3 of them were not there. Okay, it's only one then. Okay, fine. So we discussed these two qualities, Moksha Lagutakrit and Sudurlabha. Can you say how many of you could understand, especially that verse about the Tantra which was mentioned yesterday? That is Jnanata Sulabha Mukti Bhuktir Yagyadi Seyam Sadhana Sahasrer Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha. So this verse, actually practically we spent a lot of time discussing this verse. So how many of you could really understand the discussion what we had yesterday? Okay, only 2. Okay, fine. I understand it. It takes some time. So just I will recap what we discussed yesterday. And today we will take 2 more characteristics of pure devotional service which appear in Prema Bhakti at the stage of Prema Bhakti, that is Sandranand Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Karshani. And that's how we will finish the first wave today. So yesterday we discussed how the third characteristic of pure devotional service is moksha laguta krit. It makes liberation completely insignificant. Only when one attains the bliss of pure devotional service in the service of the Lord can he experience this. That's why this quality appears uh, in the Bhava Bhakti stage only. So one verse is what we saw, composed by Rupa Goswami, and then one reference from the Narada Pancharatra. Then Sudurlabha. Sudurlabha is extremely rare. What is rare? Bhava Bhakti to attain is rare. So why it is rare? It is very difficult in two ways. Sadhana oger anasange. If undertaken in great quantity but without attachment. Alabhya suchira tapi. Even if that bhakti is done for a long time, then we cannot attain bhava bhakti. And if you practice also with attachment, Krishna doesn't easily give bhava bhakti so easily. So in these two ways, what is bhava bhakti? Or bhava bhakti has this characteristic of having being sudurlabha. In this context, we discussed one reference, the first type of rarity, that if it is not done with attachment, then it will not bhava bhakti is sudurlabha. So one reference was from the Tantra. Jnanata sulabha mukti bhuktir yagyadi punyata seyam sadhana sahastre hari bhakti sudurlabha. So essentially, I'll not go into the verse discussion, means the points which we discussed from Jiva Goswami's commentary. Jnanata sulabha mukti and bhuktir yagyadi means by Gyan Yoga we can easily attain mukti. By Yagyadi Punya means Karma Kanda, we can attain Bhukti, enjoyment in Swarga. Sulabha it is mentioned easily, but Seyam Sadhana Sahasrer, with lot of dedication to that goal. And repeatedly we have to attempt in the path of Jnana Yoga, repeatedly the mind should be fixed on the impersonal Brahman, which is very difficult. Kleshodikaras Tesham was quoted yesterday, the verse. So there is difficulty for the embodied soul to meditate on the avyakta asakta chetasam, the chetasam to become fixed on avyakta. So repeatedly the sadhaka has to repeatedly dedicate his efforts, and then only it is sulabha. Otherwise there will be a contradiction. Similarly, yagya, because the heart is filled with karma kandi is filled with many desires. He wants to enjoy. So the heart is bhaushakahi anantasya, wandering here and there. I want land, I want wealth, I want position, I want this enjoyment, I was that enjoyment. So like that, he has to dedicate a lot and put his efforts a lot, and then it is attained. So this was the first line explanation of this verse. Later on, it is said Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha. So Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha means Bhava Bhakti is rare. So Hari Bhakti here refers to Bhava Bhakti. And why Bhava Bhakti Sudurlabha? If one interpretation of sadhana was that this sadhana, if it is taken as direct process of devotional service, then many verses in the Bhagavatam say that Kalena Nati Dirgena Bhagavan Vishate Hriday. That if you progressively absorb yourself in devotion, then definitely with the maturity of sadhana bhakti, you will attain bhava bhakti. And it was also said in the Narad Muni and Vyas Samvad that Narad Muni became attached to the Bhakti Vedantas, and just by serving and hearing Krishna Katha in their association, he developed bhava. So how is Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha then? So the another meaning of sadhana here is what? However, Bhara Bhakti to the Lord cannot be attained. Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha. Why it cannot be attained? If one practices thousands of different sadhanas along with bhakti, because asakti will not appear. So in that context, we quoted, if you remember, the verse, Na sadhyati mam yogo, na sankhayam dharmuddhava, na swadhyayas tapastyago, yatha bhaktir mamojita. So there sadhana means if you do other sadhanas along with bhakti yoga, then that will be not pure devotional service, jnana karma dhyanavritam. Then bhava bhakti will, bhava bhakti is sudurlabha. Otherwise, if one is dedicated to direct service of the Lord Bhakti Yoga, then that sadhana bhakti progressively will take us to bhava bhakti. So that was the explanation we had. And the second type of rarity is what? Krishna doesn't easily give. Why? Because he will test. Because if he gives, then Krishna becomes controlled by that pure devotee. So that was the discussion what we had. So today now we will begin with the fifth quality or characteristic of pure devotional service. Sandranand Vishesh Atma, composed of a special condensed bliss. Vishesh means special and condensed means Sandaranand. Bliss is Anand. Anand means bliss. Anand is a Sanskrit term, and bliss is the equivalent in English, or ecstasy. These are the two terms which we can have. Nanda means happiness. Anand means extreme happiness. And that is English equivalent is only bliss or ecstasy. So condensed bliss or ecstasy, special, composed of special, it is composed, Vishesh Atma, it is composed of Vishesh Bhakti. It is a bliss which is coming from Bhakti, not from, meditating on Brahman or meditating on the Paramatma. So that is why it is Sandrananda Vishesh Atma. Now Rupa Goswami composes this verse for this. Brahmanando bhavetesha chet parado parardo kunikrita naiti bhakti sukambode paramanu tulamapi. The bliss of Brahman realization, Brahmananda, accumulated by samadhi lasting for half of Brahma's life. Parardha Guni Krita. So Brahma's life is Dviparad. Dviparad means 100 years. And we know 100 years of Brahma is 311 trillion and so many billion years. That is the life of this universe. So half of it is 311 is around maybe 150, 5.5 plus so many billion and trillion years, trillion and million years. So if one is situated in Samadhi for half of Brahma's life, cannot compare, na tulam bhavet. Tulam means to compare. Tul means, the weighing scale. To what? To one drop. Paramanu api of the ocean of happiness of bhakti. Bhakti sukha ambodhe. In this verse, Parardha Gunikrita means the bliss of Brahman accumulated by samadhi lasting for 50 years of Brahma's life. So we cannot fathom what is Brahmanand. Brahmanand is, firstly, you have to understand it is transcendental. It is transcendental because Brahman is transcendental. It is spiritual. It is not material. And even this Brahmanand, which the Gyanis seek, where there is freedom from the cycle of birth and that you're liberated, the bliss of Brahmanand we cannot imagine. And here Rupa Goswami is saying that this Brahman happiness which you are experiencing in Samadhi for half of Brahma's life, that cannot be compared to a drop of ocean of happiness of Bhakti. Bhakti Sukha Ambodhe, or the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Bindu, So His Holiness, sorry, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written a commentary on the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In fact, he has written two commentaries. One is the Pradarshini Tika, which is we have been referring now. He has also written a short commentary on the entire Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the form of a summary. And that commentary is called as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. That means he's just taking a drop of nectar from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and presenting the entire Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the form of a summary. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is 2,170 verses, as far as I remember. And he composed only some 80 or 90 verses in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and presented the entire work. So here it is mentioned, we cannot even imagine a drop of bliss what we experience in the ocean of happiness of Bhakti. So this statement of Rupa Goswami we have to accept. We don't have experience of this because we are not at that stage, Prema Bhakti stage. So we don't have experience of it. But those who are pure devotees, very exalted souls, Mahabhagavatas, Uttamadhikaris who are on the Bhava stage, and this is the characteristics of Prema. So those who are in Prema Bhakti, they experience this kind of bliss in their chanting. So we cannot even fathom it. So this is one reference. This was the verse. Then he quotes a reference from the Hari Bhakti Suhodaya. This is the first reference Rupa Goswami is quoting to substantiate his statement. Tvat Sakshad Karna Aladha Vishuddhabdi Stitasya Me Sukani Goshtpadante Brahmanyapi Jagat Guru. O Guru of the universe, Jagat Guru, on seeing you directly, Tvat Sakshad Karna, means I am seeing you directly now with my senses, eyes. I am situated, Stitasya Me, in a pure ocean of bliss. Vishuddh Alad Abdi. Alad means, happiness. And Pralad means, is the name of Pralad Maharaj. One. Pra is also a prefix. Prakrishta Rupena Alad means extreme bliss. So it is a prefix which is magnifying the word Alad. Abdi means ocean. Vishuddha Alad Abdi. All the happiness of impersonal Brahman, Brahmani Api Sukhani, is as insignificant as the water in the hoof print of a cow. Gosh Padante. So this is quoted in the Hari Bhakti Suhodaya. Now, can you raise your hand and answer who must be speaking this verse? Anyone knows can raise their hand and answer. Who must have spoken this verse? Anyone knows can raise their hands. Any idea? Okay, Pavanabal Govind Prabhu has raised his hand. Yes, Prabhuji.
I think it is Rupa Goswami only. Hari Bhakti Subodh.
No. Hari Bhakti Sudha is not at all a work of Rupa Goswami at all. Anyone else? Anyone has any idea? Okay, Hari Bhakti Suhodaya is discussing the glories of Bhakti, especially the pastimes of two devotees from the Bhagavatam. One is Dhruva Maharaj and another is Prahlad Maharaj. So Hari Bhakti Suhodaya, it's like Bhagavatam discussing the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj. Only these two personalities are there in the Hari Bhakti Suhodaya. So either of these two personalities have spoken this verse. I'll have to refer. I don't know. I feel it is Dhruva Maharaj who has spoken this verse when he had the darshan of Prishni Garbha. when he was meditating within, and then suddenly uh, the vision, he lost the vision, and then when he opened his eyes, he saw Prishnigarma standing in front, and then Dhruva Maharaj glorified. So I guess it is Dhruva Maharaj, but I'll have to again confirm whether it is Dhruva Maharaj or Prahlad Maharaj who has spoken. So this is a reference, Hari Bhakti Sode, what to substantiate this verse, because it is mentioned all the happiness of impersonal one is insignificant. Now, Jiva Goswami. The word Brahmani does not refer to Lord Brahma, but rather to the impersonal Brahman. The comparison between the bliss from realizing of the Supreme Lord and the bliss from realizing of the impersonal Brahman is famous in works like the Bhagavatam. So the comparison is there, and this is the verse from the third canto, 15th chapter. Tasyaravinda nayanasya padaravinda kinjal kamishra tulasi makaranda vayu antargata swavivarena chakaratesham sankshobhyakshar jusham apichitta tanvo. The wind carrying the aroma of tulsi, tulsi makaranda vayu, which had touched the filaments of the Lord's toenails on his lotus feet. Arvinda, the Lord is Arvinda, Nayanasya. Nayanasya means, Nayan. Padarvinda. Padarvind means the Lord's lotus feet. Kinjalka Mishra. Kinjalka Mishra means the filaments, of the tulsi. What happened? Entered their minds through the nostrils. Antargata Swa Vivarena. Now, Swa Vivarena has been used here because if you want to take your food in, then the mouth has to be opened. Without opening the mouth and the tongue coming in contact with the food, we cannot taste the food. But the nostrils are always open, and they any smell directly goes without any opening and causing. That's why Swavivarena, Antargata Swavivarena has been used here, and began to agitate their minds and bodies. Sankshobhya Chakar Tesham Chitta Tanvo. Their chitta became agitated, even though they were fixed in Brahman. Akshar Jusham Api. So although the four Kumaras were fixed in Brahmanand, but the tulsi which was offered in the lotus feet of the Lord, and when the air which was passing by, that air carried the aroma of the tulsi, and that entered Swavivarena through the nose and touched their chitta, and they became attracted to it, and they gave up the bliss of Brahmanan. What is this superior attraction? So that's how they developed deeper attraction for the Anga of Bhakti. In fact, they got fully purified and became pure devotees. So this is the extreme example of the four Kumaras. In fact, this is one of the pastimes, you can say. Now, the second reference Rupa Goswami is giving is Bhavartha Deepika. Now, Bhavartha Deepika is the commentary of Srila Sridhar Swami, who is called as the Mool Tikakar on the Srimad Bhagavatam. He is the original commentator. That's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has accepted. So this is his own composition of the verse. This is not a Bhagavatam verse, but his own composition he has written in his Bhagavatam commentary. Tvat katamrit pato do virhanto mahamudha kurvanti kritina kechet chaturvaryam trinopamam. Some fortunate people, kechit kirtina, kritina, sorry, not kirtina, kritina, sukruti and duskruti, like that. Play, viharanta, vihar means to play. Where? In the sweet ocean of your topics. Tvat katamrit patodo. And enjoy the greatest bliss. Maha Muda Purvanti. Maha Muda. Muda means also happiness or bliss. they consider the happiness of artha, dharma, kama, and moksha to be as insignificant as grass. Chatur varyam trina upamam. Upamam means it is comparison. So they compare the bliss of dharma, artha, kama, moksha to be insignificant for those who are playing in the sweet ocean of the topics of bhakti and experiencing great bliss. Now, here is a short commentary by Jiva Goswami. Though there are plenty of statements in the scriptures like Bhagavatam which can be quoted, the author has taken this verse from the Bhagavatam commentary Bhavar Deepika of Sridhar Swami to show that his conclusion are confirmed by the realization of Sridhar Swami. So Rupa Goswami is following his previous acharyas, Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami is speaking about his realizations, and the author also has given the own verse, Brahmananda Bhavet. We saw that, this verse. So whatever Rupa Goswami is giving his realization, it is confirmed by the realization of Sridhar Swami. So this was the fifth quality or characteristics of pure devotional service. So any questions you have till now, what we discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, this little doubt which I had actually yesterday, but I could not ask you that time. It is said that bhakti liberation is easy, and then it has been achieved after performing thousands of years this tapasya, correct? And then
Thousands of tapasya, okay, but it requires a lot of concentration and repeated
yeah,
sadhana has to be, many times attempts have to be done. That was
right.
the point. Yeah.
So, but they are saying liberation is easy, but then they are contradictory by saying that it has to be performed continuously with lot of this. And then it has been mentioned that Hari Bhakti is Sulabha,
Hari Bhakti Sudurlabha.
Sudurlabha. Yeah, right. So, Prabhu, this point I am not, means then it is both same, right?
No, it's not same. Now, two things you have to understand here. One is that by Gyan or by Karma, by Gyan we can attain liberation, by Karma we can attain heavenly pleasure. It is easy, but the sadhakas in their process of Gyan or Karma have to repeatedly attempt to attain that goal. Repeatedly attempt. This is the first point.
Right.
But with their karma path or their jnana path, Hari Bhakti is Sudurlabha. Hari Bhakti cannot be attained. Hari Bhakti cannot be attained. So this is the first point you have to understand. Second, now, the second explanation of the verse, second lines, I mean, the last two lines, explanation of the verse. So, Hari Bhakti means Bhava Bhakti, and sadhana, if you interpret as sadhana bhakti. So sadhana bhakti, if it is practiced, then one will attain bhava bhakti. Because many verses in the Bhagavatam say that sadhana bhakti with progression, when we go to higher stages, we will attain bhava bhakti. So this is one interpretation. But sadhana also can refer that with the practice of bhakti, if you practice all other types of bhakti, like you do karma yoga, you do jnana yoga, you do ashtanga yoga along with sadhana bhakti, then hari bhakti is sudurlabha. Otherwise, with the practice of sadhana bhakti maturing, one will attain bhava bhakti.
So, Prabhu, one more doubt here. Can I ask, Prabhu?
Yes.
Now karma yoga or jnana yoga, it is a yoga which is linking to the Supreme Lord again. and which we, as a part of bhakti, we do it, right?
No, no,
Because
no.
we read the scriptures
No, no, no.
also about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and we do activities related to devotional service, or we do a karma which is karma yoga.
No, no, no. See, firstly, we don't have a clear understanding of what exactly is Karma Yoga, what is Gyan Yoga, and what is Bhakti Yoga. The first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita deal with Karma Yoga. There, one identifies himself based on his nature, Varna. Somebody is a Kshatriya, somebody is a Brahmana. And this identification is not the identification that I'm soul, but I am Brahmana, I am Kshatriya, and based on that, there is Kshatriya Dharma or Brahmana Dharma. So, based on that, they follow those scriptures, those Shastras, the Dharma Shastras, which give them duties according to that Dharma. This is based on the identification, not that I am soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and my real duty is to love and please Krishna by engaging my senses in direct devotional service. This is not the understanding in Karma Yoga. So I am attached to my nature of work, and I'm impelled by that nature, Swabhav it is called, and I do those duties with detachment. With detachment is called as Karma Yoga. So by doing Karma Yoga, one can achieve liberation, not Krishna. Please understand this. So actually Karma Yoga is the progressive path by which one can come to the point of liberation, and further to advance in liberation, he has to take up to the path of Ashtanga Yoga or Gyan Yoga. So in Ashtanga Yoga also, the object is I am Brahman, and ultimately I have to merge in the Brahman, impersonal Brahman. So there is a lot of difference, and only when we study the Gita in detail and understand these different processes, then we can have a clear understanding. Now in Bhakti Yoga, where we are practicing, we have been given the path where we identify ourselves as spirit soul. This is the basic teaching. You are not this body, you are spirit soul. Bhagavad Gita, ABCD teaching. And now directly practice Bhakti Yoga. We are all directly practicing Bhakti Yoga where we are engaging the senses in Krishna's service. Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam, Bhaktir Uchate. So we are directly practicing Bhakti Yoga now. And Bhakti Yoga means the 9 limbs of devotional service. That is the Navida Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. So these are direct core devotional activities which link the soul to the Supreme Soul, Krishna. Now, apart from these, direct core devotional bhakti activities, like right now we are hearing Krishna Katha. So this is pure devotional service. Apart from this, we are, to maintain ourselves, we are working, we are doing like a husband is going to the office and he's doing his according to his nature and propensity. Somebody is a businessman, somebody might be a intellectual. So he has got this nature, he's earning money, but ultimately with what consciousness? He's using his nature now, dovetailing directly in Krishna's service. So he's earning this money to maintain the family of Krishna, to maintain, to spread the preaching movement. With this consciousness, when we do, then it is not directly pure devotional service, but in some sense, it is directly connecting his nature as an offering to Krishna. So that is secondary. It is secondary, but the primary core activities what we are doing is directly pure devotional service. And whatever nature we have, we are, like a housewife is there at home, she's cooking, but ultimately she's cooking for the devotees at home and for the deities at home. So all those activities in one sense are taking us to pure devotional service only. But most important for us to understand the core activities, that is the 9 limbs of devotional service, are the most important, and these are directly pure devotional service which sadhakas are performing.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So now we will take up the last characteristics of pure devotional service, that is Sri Krishna Akarshani, attracts Krishna and his associates. Not only Krishna attracts, it attracts Krishna, but Krishna's associates in the spiritual world also get attracted to you. Kritva harim prema bhajam priyavarga samanvitam bhaktir vashi karotiti Shri Krishna Karshani Mata. Bhakti is called Shri Krishna Akarshani. Bhakti Shri Krishna Akarshani Mata. Called. Mata means called. Because it makes the Lord addicted to prema. Kritva harim prema bhajam, and brings him under control. Vashi karoti. Along with his associates. Priya varga samanvitam. Because prema is attractive to him, Akarshana, he is called Prema Bhajam, addicted to prema of his devotees. So the devotees, the Premi Bhaktas, are addicted to the Lord, and the Lord is addicted to his devotees. So it's both way. Devotional service is not one way, it is two way. The word Sri Krishna Akarshani indicates Priya Varga Samanvitam, along with his dear associates. So this is the verse composed by Rupa Goswami. Now let us see what Srila Prabhupada has to say about it. Srila Rupa Goswami has stated that devotional service attracts even Krishna. The symbol of devotional service in the highest degree is Radharani. Krishna is called Madan Mohan, which means he is so attractive that he can defeat the attraction of thousands of cupids. But Radharani is still more attractive, for she can even attract Krishna. Because Radharani possesses bhakti and Krishna gets attracted by that bhakti. Therefore, devotees call her Madan Mohana Mohini, the attractor of Cupid. To perform devotional service means to follow in the footsteps of Radharani, and the devotees in Vrindavan put themselves under the care of Radharani in order to achieve perfection in their devotional service. In other words, devotional service is not an activity of the material world. It is directly under the control of Radharani. So any verse you can think about where in the Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned that ultimately bhakti or devotional service is under the control of the internal potency of the Lord, or under the control of Radharani. Any verse anyone can think of and recollect in the Bhagavad Gita? Anyone knows which verse we can think of? It is Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Daivim Prakritimashita Bhajanti Ananya Manaso Gyatva Bhutadim Avyayam. 9.13 in the Bhagavad Gita. Mahatmanastu, the great souls, Mam Partha, O Partha, Daivim Prakritimashita. They have taken the shelter of the internal potency of the Lord. So the internal potency refers to the Ladini Shakti and it refers to Srimati Radharani. So devotional service is ultimately all the devotion, or the bhakti also what we have little is ultimately coming from the supreme goddess of devotion, Srimati Radharani. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the Mahatmas or the great souls are under the protection of Devi Prakriti, the internal energy, Radharani. So I already quoted this. So being directly under the control of the internal potency of Krishna, devotional service attracts even Krishna himself. So Krishna also gets attracted by that pure devotee, and the pure devotee is also completely attracted to the Lord. Now, one reference is here where it is spoken. Same Uddhav Gita verse. Na sadhyati mam yoga, na sankyam dharma uddhava, na swadhyayas tapastyago, yatha bhaktir mamorjita. My dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service in the form of prema bhakti rendered to me by my devotees. So here bhakti mamorjita refers to prema bhakti, not sadhana bhakti or bhava bhakti. It refers to prema bhakti. Brings me under their control, mama urjita. So this month, Kartik month is called as what? Anyone knows? There is another name for Kartik month. Damorodar Vrat also we say, but there is another name which is given in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and even Prabhupada has mentioned. So it is called as Urja Vrat. Urja is also another name of Radharani. Urja means, which is splendorous, Urjita. So brings me under control. Those engaged in mystic yoga, sadhati yoga, sankhya, philosophy, pious work, sankyam, dharmam, Vedic study, austerity and renunciation, swadhyaya, tapatyaga, cannot thus control me to this extent. Na yata mama urjita. So only by pure devotional service, I become fully controlled, and not by other sadhanas like Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Tapa Yoga, Vairagya Yoga, no, not by other processes. Okay. Srila Jiva Goswami. Though one may conclude that bhakti mentioned here is sadhana by comparing it with others such as Sankhya, it cannot be an example of sadhana that brings Krishna under control, because of the statement in verse 41 that Krishna is brought under control only by Sadhya Bhakti. So here, although this Bhakti is mentioned, it is not sadhana, because by sadhana Bhakti, Krishna doesn't come under control, only by Prema Bhakti. Thus, the meaning of Bhakti after producing Sadhya Bhakti Prema controls me. So the meaning here, Bhakti means Prema Bhakti. Vishwanath Thakur, na sadhyate means those processes are not means for attaining me. So if you want to attain Krishna, you cannot attain by Ashtanga Yoga, you cannot attain by Jnana Yoga, you cannot attain by Swadhyaya, you cannot attain by Tapa. It is only by Bhakti. Urjita means very strong and intense because of not being covered by Jnana or Karma. So this is another meaning of Urjita. I told you, very resplendent and intense, Urjita. So this is called as Urja Vrat, and this Damodar month also. As also it has come in the Bhagavatam verse, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajante Purusha Param. Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, I think 3rd chapter, 10th, 11th verse, it is there. So Tivrena Bhakti Yogena means pure devotional service which is free from karma and jnana. So there is now one reference for Sri Krishna Akarshani given by Rupa Goswami. Now this is a very beautiful verse. Yuyam nirloka bhati bhuri bhaga lokam punanam munayo biyanti isham grahan avasati sakshat gudam param brahma manushalingam. My dear Yudhishthir, all of you, the Pandavas, Yuyam Nrila Loka. Yuyam refers to all of you, are extremely fortunate. Bhataburi Bhaga. For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Sakshat Param Brahma, lives in your place. Yesham Grahan Avasati. Just like a human being. Kudam Manushalingam. Great saintly persons, Lokan Punana Munaya, know this very well, and therefore they constantly visit this house, Abhayanti. Now the explanation is very interesting. Vishwanath Chakravarti. Prahlad was so fortunate that he saw the Lord. We are, however, unfortunate. Now this is from the 7th canto, and the 7th canto begins with the description of Hiranyakashipu's atrocities, and it all begins with the pastime where Shishupal is killed by Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra. And this happens in the Rajasuya Yagya. And Yudhishthira Maharaj himself sees that the soul of Shishupal enters the Lord. And he's surprised. Shishupal was such an envious person, and he also attained this wonderful destination. And then the questions come up. And Narad Muni begins description of the history of Prahlad and Hiranyakashipu. How Shishupal in his previous life was so and so, and like that. The whole description goes on. So after hearing the glories of Prahlad Maharaj, the pure devotional of Prahlad Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj is thinking that Prahlad was so fortunate that he saw the Lord, Narsimhadev. We are, however, unfortunate. For us, the Lord has not appeared. This is what Yudhishthira Maharaj is thinking. To pacify lamenting Yudhishthira, Narad speaks these words to him. So this lamentation is a spiritual lamentation. It is not material lamentation. You are more fortunate than Prahlad, than me, his guru, than other devotees, then the guru of the Yadus, then the sages such as Vashishta, Marichi, Kashyap, and then Brahma and Shiva. So Narad Muni is saying, how fortunate you Pandavas are. You are more fortunate than Prahlad, you are more fortunate than me, then the guru of the Yadus also, whom Krishna was staying in Dwarka. Then the great sages also like Vashishta, Marichi, Kashyap, and even Brahma and Shiva. Yudhishthira Maharaj, please understand, you are more fortunate than all of these. Why? You are the most fortunate among the world of Jivas. Sages who purify the world by their presence come to your house to make themselves completely successful. Because the secret supreme Brahman, who actually has an eternal human form, resides in your house. Without even being called by you, owing to his attraction for you. So the Lord was so much attracted to the Pandavas that repeatedly from Dwarka, he used to make out some or other scheme how I can visit Hastinapur. He was so much attracted to the devotion of the Pandavas that some other way he used to find an excuse to go to Hastinapur and meet the Pandavas, be in their association, and give darshan to them. The Pandavas were always hankering that some other way we should have the association of Krishna, and Krishna was fulfilling that, reciprocating that. And in Hastinapur, there was a huge rush. Those sages who used to go in the forest, deep forest, to go and meditate and do their tapasya, all these sages were always rushing towards Hastinapur. Hastinapur was always overcrowded with all these great sages who used to leave the forest and come to a city. Pura means a city. Why? Because they knew that Parabrahma, Krishna, is present. That is the highest goal, to come and take darshan. The yogis, in their meditation, they try to see the Paramatma in the heart, but that Bhagwan, transcendental Sachidananda Vigraha, is there in Hastinapur, spending time with the Pandavas. So that's why there was, you can say, a huge rush in Hastinapur to have darshan of Krishna by all these yogis. The Brahman in human form does not reside in the houses of Prahlad and others, and the sages do not come to their houses to make themselves successful by seeing him there. So this is the verse. In fact, yesterday also discussed the glory, what Hanuman speaks about the Pandavas, how they were fortunate. In fact, Krishna was so much controlled by the love of the Pandavas that when he was residing with the Pandavas, he was when Yudhishthira Maharaj used to go on the tour in the Hastinapur in his kingdom on an elephant ride, Krishna would be following backside Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he used to be glorifying Yudhishthira Maharaj ki jai, Yudhishthira Maharaj ki jai. So that was the position what Krishna had taken to glorify Yudhishthira Maharaj as a great king, and he was also in the part of the crowd where all the prajaya come, and this was a very tradition when the crowd, when the king used to come out on a tour in the kingdom, all the praja is to also glorify him. Maharaj ki jai, Maharaj ki jai. So Yudhishthira Maharaj ki jai, and in that backside is Krishna also. So that is the love what Krishna had for Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas. So this is the last Sri Krishna Akarshani. Now this is the next verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, where it is mentioned Agrato Vaksha Yamayas Tridha Bhaktir Anukramat Dvisha Shadbir Pader Etan Mahatam Parikirtitam. Three types of bhakti, Tridha Bhaktir, will be explained later. Agrato Vakshamanayas, one after another, Anukramat. The greatness of bhakti is uniquely glorified by the 6 qualities just mentioned. Etan Mahatam Parikirtitam. 2 qualities appearing in each type of bhakti. Dvisha Shadbi. So in the 6, 2 qualities appear in each type of bhakti. So there are 3 types of bhakti. Now I am asking you, which are the 3 types of bhakti? Anyone can answer? Please raise your hands. Which are the 3 types of bhakti? Who would like to raise the hand? Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, is it sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti?
Is it? No, it is. It is sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. So Rup Goswami in the first wave has defined Uttama Bhakti, pure devotional service. He has defined, and the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. Now what is he saying? That these 3 types of bhakti will be explained later. So now first wave is over, where Samanya Bhakti is discussed. Now these 3 types of bhakti will be discussed. So Sadhana Bhakti will be discussed in second wave. Third wave will discuss Bhava Bhakti. Fourth wave will discuss Prema Bhakti, Anukramat, one after another. And this bhakti greatness is glorified by the 6 qualities and 2 qualities appearing in each type of bhakti. So 2 qualities appearing in each type of bhakti means what? Raise your hands now. Who would like to answer? 2 qualities appearing in each type of bhakti. What does it mean? And which are the 2 qualities which appear in each type of bhakti? You will have to answer. Anyone? It's quite simple and clear, because last few classes we have spent on this. What are the 2 types of characteristics appearing in each type of bhakti? Anyone would like to answer? What are the 2 qualities which appear in each type of bhakti? The 2 qualities appear in sadhana bhakti, Kleshagni and Shubhada. 2 qualities appear in Bhava Bhakti, Moksha Laghutakrit and Sudurlabha, along with Kleshagni and Shubhada. One thing we should be clear. And in Prema Bhakti, Sandranand Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Akarshani. So all the 6 qualities manifest in Prema Bhakti. So this is how we'll have to understand. Now 2 verses Having understood these 6 characteristics, oh, I would like to practice bhakti. So what is the qualification to take up to this bhakti? In 2 verses, Rupa Goswami discusses. Kimcha swalpapi ruchir eva syat bhakti tattva vabodhika yuktistu kevalanaiva yad asya pratishtita. Even if one has little taste, swalpapi ruchir eva syat. This taste means the taste of bhakti. For the topic of bhakti, bhakti tattva, he can understand it. Avabodhika. Bodhika means bodh. Bodh means one can understand. He who tries to understand bhakti by drawing logic cannot understand it. Yukti tu kevala na eva. Just by logic, you cannot understand bhakti. Why? Because logic is insubstantial. Yad asya apratishtita. So only when one gets a little taste in the topics of bhakti, he can understand bhakti, and not just by dry logic. Dry logic is not sufficient. Something else should be said concerning those who have no taste for bhakti. That is expressed by the words kimcha. Ruchi or taste in this verse means taste for scriptures such as Srimad Bhagavatam that present the true nature of bhakti. Taste for Krishna Prasadam, taste for Kirtan, taste for having darshan of the deities, taste for Bhagavad Gita. That means you have faith of Shraddha with you, and with that faith of Shraddha, that little taste which has come, you can take up to bhakti. This taste arises through previous impressions. So the Agyat Sukriti is there, and this Agyat Sukriti matures into Shraddha, and we come in the Sadhu association and take up to devotional service. The previous bhakti impressions are there. So because we have been exposed to previous bhakti impressions, that is the only qualification for us to take up to bhakti. If somebody has been a jnani in his previous life, he has those impressions, so he'll be attracted to the Gyan Marg. Somebody is Ashtanga Yogi in his previous life, he in this life, because he has those impressions, he will be attracted to that path. But only those who have bhakti impressions, bhakti unmukh sukriti, they will get attracted, the taste will arise. That ruchi lets one understand the nature of bhakti, the highest position of bhakti. Bhakti tattva avabodhika. An equivalent expression would be Shraddha payati. Ruchi produces faith in the supreme position of bhakti. So I mentioned that ruchi is faith here. Yukti, logic, which is dry, kevala, without ruchi, cannot give an understanding of bhakti. Just by dry logic, if one is a jnani, he cannot understand as long as he doesn't get the bhakti impressions by the mercy of serving sadhus. Now, Jiva Goswami. Now we just now read Jiva Goswami. Oh, still it is continuing. Okay, sorry. However, logic along with full taste for the topic of bhakti can give an understanding of it. So if you have logic along with bhakti, then you are still more qualified. If you have just yukti kevala, na eva, only logic, no, you cannot understand bhakti. The same meaning of yukti should be applied in the later statement, Shastra Yukta cha Nipuna. So when we'll now go next week into Sadhana Bhakti, one of the qualifications of a Uttam Adhikari is that he is very expert in understanding the conclusion of the Bhakti Shastras, and he is practicing Bhakti according to the Shastras. The Uttam Adhikari is endowed with skill in scriptural knowledge and logic with taste here. Please remember, logic with taste. This is not dry logic based on mental speculation. It is with taste. Now the next verse. This is the last verse from the first wave. Tatra prachinera api uktam. So there is some concerning this topic. There is an ancient authority, prachin. What is it? Yatnena paditopya artha kushler anumatrabhi abhi yuktarer anyer anyata ivapo padeyate. A person more skillful in logic, abhi yukta ta rare anyer, can bring about a conclusion. Yatnena pa dito api artha, different from what is carefully proven. Kushler anumatrabhi, previously by another skillful logician. Anyatha iva pa padate. Why yukti itself is not sufficient? Because anything you establish by logic, there will be another logician who will disprove and prove his logic as superior. So just by logic, one logician presenting a truth and somebody will defeat and he will present his truth. So like that, logic itself is not sufficient, and that's why this verse Rupa Goswami speaks. Now, Jiva Goswami. This verse shows the insubstantial nature of logic. The ancients mentioned above refers to commentators who agree with the statement. Tarko pratishtanath, logic being insubstantial, can prove the opposite. Abhiyukta tarer means those who are more skillful in logic. So there is also a famous verse, if you remember, in the Mahabharata. This is not given by Rupa Goswami, but I have added. Tarko pratishtata shrutayo vibhinna nasa rishiryasya matam na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gatah sapanta. Dry arguments are inconclusive. Tarka apratishtita. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Nasa rishir yasya matam hi bhinnam. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, Shrutayo Vibhinna, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. Dharmasya Tattvam. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of unadulterated self-realized person. Nihitam Guhayam. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. Mahajano yena gatastapantam. So Nana Rishir Matam Hivinam. There are many rishis who give their different opinions and establish that this is the truth of the Vedas. But no, we cannot come to this conclusion. We have to follow the great souls, Mahajans, where this hidden secret is given by Krishna in their heart. That's why Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita he says, Sa eva maya ade prokta yoga prokta puratana bhakto si me sakacheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. I am telling you the secret now, Arjuna, because you are my friend and you are my devotee. So Bhagavad Gita Bhakti is a mystery. Only the Lord and his pure devotees carry that in their heart, and only they can give it in the Guru Shishya Parampara. That's why just by Yukti, we cannot understand, just by logic. But logic with Ruchi is very, very conducive for understanding Bhakti and Bhakti Shastras. So here we end the Eastern Division first wave. We finished this first, and from next week onwards, we will be starting one of the most important topics of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that is the second wave, which is Sadhana Bhakti, which is very, very important for sadhakas. It is a very long and elaborate topic, and major portion and major time we will be spending on that. And it is very interesting also. So we will stop here. Any questions till now what we discussed? Anyone has any clarifications, doubts? Any clarifications, any questions? So then we'll stop. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai.